And just to tell the group a little bit about Supreme Master Ching Hai, she's really one of the leading humanitarians in the world today, perhaps even in this 21st century. She contributes over $1 million a year of her own money to support all the disaster issues around the world. She received the Guzi Prize in 2006, which is the equivalent of an Asian Nobel Peace Prize. In her own work, she doesn't take donations, and she only asks people to do their work. And that's the real donation. She is, and probably will become best known as a person who perhaps will be saving the planet from global warming by helping people go vegan. And that's really why we're connecting, because we are now doing, and this is Rabbi Gabriel Cousin sitting here with Reverend Michael Beckwith, doing the kickoff fast, the green juice fast, for the healing of the planet. So how does fasting connect with the healing of the planet? Is we find that when people are fasting, after about 6 or 7 days, they lose their cellular memory for meat, fish, chicken, and dairy. Dairy is one of the hardest because it has casomorphines, which are 1/10 as strong as morphine. So these are really addictions. And the research shows that it takes a little bit of time to lose that cellular memory. The real research, this isn't a metaphor, the epigenetic DNA memory is something that actually goes away when you remove yourself from the presence of these foods, meat, fish, chicken, and dairy. So we see that the most important thing in the world today, in terms of global warming, is to go plant source only. There seems to be a significant amount of misinformation about that. It has to do with carbon dioxide in the air. That's maybe 9%, according to the research by James Hansen, who was head of the Goddard Institute for Space Research from NASA, is that's 9%. The real issues is that 50% of the global warming is connected to methane. And there's no question about that is really a big issue. And that's coming, of course, from the cows. And that's somewhere between estimates. This is all new. People are really just beginning to understand it. Somewhere between 25 or 100 times more potent a global warmer than carbon dioxide. So that's maybe 50% of what's contributing to global warming. And most of that is from animals. A little bit it comes from lagoons where animal waste have been put in. And they estimate maybe 15%. And then the next is the billion pounds per year of manure that gives off nitrous oxide, which is approximately between 296 to 300 times more potent in global warming than carbon dioxide. Now, the other thing is really important, too. It's about 65% of the nitrous oxide comes from this manure. And then we have ammonia that's connected to acid rain. So we have some real issues going on. What's really important to understand is that carbon dioxide may be in the air for 100 or 500 years or perhaps thousands of years. And again, we don't really know that. So we're not going to get an immediate result. You may get a Prius, but it's going to have to be 10,000 years old before it's going to make an effect. It's not going to really help us. So where we go to and why we're doing this fast here and also in Portland at the end of August and then New York and Boston and Toronto and Vancouver is to wake people up to the real issue, which is animal agriculture. The good news is that can stop in 8 to 15 years. That will be out of the atmosphere, particularly the methane. So this is like really good news. We have something that's immediate that we can have an effect. So it brings us back to what we eat determines who lives or dies on this planet. And it has a lot of ramifications, because what we're hearing from research experts like Dr. James Hansen is we have a year or two before we hit a turning point. And then we have to understand that we're just organisms on the planet. And if we don't play it right, not only the planet will not do so well, but we, organisms on the planet, will definitely not do it very well. So it's a critical time. It's a critical time for us. And we really thank you, Supreme Master Ching Hai, for leading the world in waking up. Your Supreme Master TV, where you have 14 satellites and 60 different translations and over 70 nations, is getting this message out to everyone. We want people to be able to go to a plant source only diet. And that's our game plan, and that's what the world needs. It's really the only practical solution, and it's one we have control over. We don't have to wait to some kind of new invention, electrical cars or whatever. We can do that now. And it empowers us as human beings to be able to do this. So we're just very happy to be working with you. And again, we greet you with great love for the great work that you are doing around the world. And we see us as really brothers and sisters in a very particular way for saving the planet. So thank you very much. I want to introduce Reverend Michael Beckwith, who's going to talk a little bit also about this. And then we're going to do some questions.
And we bring tremendous greetings and love from here at Agape for the tremendous work that you have been doing in terms of spreading this gospel of truth regarding the power of the fork. I don't know if I can add too much other than what Gabriel has already said, but that individuals can begin to change the world just through the power of their fork. As he vindicated, we don't have to do much other than to break the addiction of what's been going into our body temple. And then that also, as we do this more and more around the planet, we begin to create a field of individuals who are oscillating together in the field of possibility. So as we're cleansing the body temple, then of course the mental body becomes clean again, and then we have greater access to our spiritual dimension, which allows for unexpected surprises to take place when all seems not. So when we're looking at the scientists giving us these dire reports, which are very accurate and very true from a scientific level, when individuals come together around the planet and break free from the addictions and clean their bodies, become access to the supreme presence of God, which moves us and brings things into possibility that before weren't possible because we weren't vibrating high enough. We didn't have access to that domain. So it all works together for good. Our diet, our clean mind, and our access to the realm of the divine, and then us working together amplifies that field logarithmically and exponentially. And so even though there's a small group of people here, it has a big effect on this city. And of course, the small groups around the world then have a big effect on the planet. So we're just very privileged and honored to be in this number together, the Tree of Life, Agape, you and people around the world taking a stand for love for our planet and for each other. And we welcome you into this space.
Amen. We really want to honor the people who have done this fasting because you are heroes. So let's give a yes to everybody here. And by the time the next year or two is up, we want to have millions of heroes out there. And every person plays an important role in being that. Good. Are there any questions you have for us before we ask you questions?
Yeah. I want to ask if everybody is hungry.
Well, not really. We're hungry for God.